This is the Promineo Tech Front-End Bootcamp Week 14 coding assignment. First part of our large React project. So my first step here was to consider which components I wanted to create and what data to use. I wanted to make sure that I had drawn out how components were working, so I drew out a few ideas and eventually settled on the one I created with this, as I was able to get a few components without making it overly complicated for this assignment. So I left the main.tsx React file as is with its imports. While I changed the CSS, I didn't touch any of the functionality. The app imports the two components that I'm using as the main sections here, as well as the example creatures array that I created to hold my data so that I could then use it as a prop for the bestiary. And this data goes to the bestiary, but because I have the new creature on top, it is the form that I use. I'd only have to import the CSS for now, as currently the only thing here is user input. You can type, you can click on the buttons, but they don't do anything, as there's no functionality yet. So this is pretty basic form. Nothing much here, as it doesn't need any props and information is coming from the user. The bestiary, on the other hand, is going to be using an array of a type that I created for the creature that matches the properties of the example data. I used an interface here because that was what our instructor used in his example. In my own research, I found that it's fairly similar to using a type, while I'm still not completely certain where it's best to use each. Apparently for declaring props in this way, you can use either easily, so I just left it as an interface. So the creatures it takes in, as provided by the app, is my example creatures for this part, and it uses the .map function on that array, and for each of the objects, it uses the creature data. The key is the creature's ID, and the other properties are utilized in the creature, as you can see here. This also needed an interface so that it would properly take in the data from the bestiary. I had to import the type here as well since it was being used. And then I used the different properties to create each creature, as well as adding buttons, which don't do anything as of yet. So those are my 3 components created with React using my example data as props.